Tonight, a snake missing for weeks, reunited with its family, or so we thought.
And my son called me and he said, "Mom, come downstairs." I go, "I don't think this is Monty."
Turns out this Monty the Python is an imposter. Plus,
people are getting beaten up, their homes are being robbed, cars are being vandalized in order for these people to get money for their drug addiction.
residents in the south end of Cabbagetown say local crime is on the rise, and they're blaming a nearby supervised injection site. And your drawer full of plastic grocery bags at home may soon start to shrink. Sobeys detailing plans to ditch plastic altogether. Good evening, I'm Mike Wise. Toronto may have a snake problem. We told you last night about the story of Monty the Python, a pet snake who went missing last month. A mystery we thought had been solved when on Monday a python turned up in a gas station sewer grate and was returned to Monty's owners. But tonight they say it's a different snake. Taylor Simmons has the update.
Come on, Petey. Sneaky Pete.
Late last night, after taking the python home, Sam Sinella says her 18-year-old son, the snake's owner, noticed it acting different than usual.
He said, "Mom, come downstairs." I go, "I don't think this is Monty."
They also noticed the snake had a different pattern.
So then I knew, oh no, it's a different snake.
Sinella's son adopted Monty in November, a non-venomous ball python. He went missing mid-June, but seeing pictures of Monday's snake capture at an Esso station, Sinella thought they'd found him.
And I thought, well, of course it is, because how many pythons are running loose in Toronto?
At least 2 until Sneaky Pete was found. According to the city, they found 28 stray snakes since January 2017, more than half of them ball pythons.
They are just gentle, sort of little snakes that don't mean any harm.
Earth Echo's owner Paul Collier says that's because the snakes actually make great pets, but
they have to be very secure. I mean, any animal can escape, but snakes in particular are very good escape artists because of their shape.
This is their pet,
Yep.
Monty the python, and this is the one that they picked up.
Okay, it's not the same snake though.
How can you tell?
It's just different color mutations of the same species of snake. And it was found like 3 kilometers. That's a long way for a snake to travel.
Okay.
You know? So I would say that the snake is probably still in the vicinity somewhere.
Collier has worked with reptiles for 35 years. He says these types of snakes aren't dangerous to humans. The city says pet snakes can't be venomous, more than 3 meters long, or present an undue danger to safety. Owners are not required to license them or even report them missing, but it is encouraged.
He's not so bad, and he's actually quite beautiful. And
Sinella says she's offered to take care of Sneaky Pete, but the city plans to send the snake to a reptile rescue. Meantime, Sinella hopes Monty will soon slither his way back home.
Monty could be in the basement laughing at us.
Taylor Simmons, CBC News, Toronto.
York police finally confirming tonight the names of the people killed in this weekend's quadruple murder. The victims are 70-year-old Feroza Begum, 50-year-old Mumtaz Begum, 59-year-old Moniruz Zaman, and 21-year-old Malessa Zaman, 3 generations of the same family. Police say they have determined the cause of death but aren't releasing those details while the case is currently before the courts. Menhaz Zaman is facing 4 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths. A friend told CBC Toronto that Menhaz is the son of Mumtaz and Moniruz, the brother of Malessa, and the grandson of Feroza. Now, according to 2 sources, Zaman appears to have sent online messages about planning to kill his family several months ago. And police are searching tonight for the latest person to go missing from Cam H. He's a man with a history of sex offenses, and he's the 3rd patient to go missing in the past month. 45-year-old Anthony Murdoch was last seen in the Queen and Ossington area on Tuesday afternoon. Cam H says he was on a staff-escorted pass on the property when he disappeared. Murdoch was found not criminally responsible on a sexual assault charge back in 2002 and has been convicted of forcible confinement and sex assault. He was also found not criminally responsible for an indecent act back in 1998. Police say he should not be approached if spotted. Cam H has been under scrutiny recently after 2 other men walked away from the center. After those cases, Cam H announced an external review of its security procedures. A public report looking into the case of serial killer Elizabeth Wetlaufer came out today, looking at how the nurse was able to prey on elderly patients under her care.
If we're going to prevent similar tragedies in the future, we cannot continue to do the same things in the same ways in the long-term care system. We cannot. If the system didn't detect it before, it will not detect, deter, and stop it in the future.
An investigation into the long-term care system began after she confessed to killing 8 seniors in the Woodstock area. Now, 2 years later, the report makes 91 recommendations focusing on how to detect and prevent such crimes. It also stresses the importance of creating better awareness about how to spot patients being subjected to possible harm. The Ontario government says it plans to review its long-term care system and will offer 2 years of free counseling to the families of Wetlaufer's victims. And there are calls tonight to shut down a supervised injection site near Dundas and Sherbourne. Many people who live near there blame it for an increase in drugs and crime, but harm reduction workers say the answer for a growing problem isn't so simple. Adrian Chung reports.
And at the end of it, we're just going to keep getting threatened. We're going to keep having people pull knives on us.
Nearly every resident here has a story.
It's made our life really difficult. I was attacked in our home.
Many of them live close to Dundas and Sherbourne, a corner they say that is drug and crime ridden. They blame Street Health, a community health agency, for the city's homeless, which also doubles as a supervised injection site.
My objection is principally they're in the wrong location, there's too small a facility, and they're not doing their job properly.
Street Health was originally slated to be a taxpayer-funded harm reduction site, but the Ontario government pulled the funding in March, citing public outcry against the East End Toronto sites.
And with all due respect, Colin, if I put one beside your house, you'd be going ballistic.
But with a last-minute federal exemption, Street Health can keep operating as an injection site funded by private donations.
At the corner of Sherbourne and Dundas, it's the second highest, calls for overdoses for EMS in that area. So we felt we were definitely needed.
Their license comes up in January, and we're asking it to be revoked immediately or not renewed.
Toronto police statistics show there's been an uptick in crime in 51 Division, which covers Dundas and Sherbourne, a 75% jump in break-in enters compared to 2018. Street Health says the community has a lot of challenges, but that facing homelessness and a public health issue head-on shouldn't be one of them.
We need to have more low-barrier overdose prevention sites in all of Ontario.
But not even frontline workers agree on what the best answer is.
There's a need at Sherbourne and Dundas, and part of that is linked to the number of services all in one location.
This harm reduction worker lives in Cabbagetown and says the East End is oversaturated with supervised injection sites.
This is a citywide, countrywide problem. This is not a problem of the Sherbourne corridor, yet we concentrate so many of the harm reduction services there, and that's what's created this very unsafe environment. And again, unsafe, yes, for the residents who are speaking tonight, but also truly, truly unsafe for a lot of the people who are living on the streets.
The police are committing to hiring more officers in the next 5 years, but a silver bullet for what is a complex and citywide problem aren't anywhere to be found. Adrian Chung, CBC News, Toronto.
Let's check in with Jeff Harrington with his first forecast of the night. Nice to have a break from the humidity.
Yeah, for sure. So we've shaken that humidity, Mike, and that will continue really for the next 48 hours, calm and dry. And we'll get you set for your Caribbean Carnival forecast. Unfortunately, we're going to dial up the humidity a bit by then, Saturday. And we've also got your Holiday Monday forecast tonight as well. So 27, the magic number, that's what we made it up to today. And that's actually bang on average. So a seasonal day, an average day, and that will continue tomorrow as well. Here's why. We've got a trio of areas of high pressure that's deflecting systems to the north and also to the south of us. It means dry conditions and a whole lot of sunshine as well. Tonight, a north wind is going to press down our temperature to 14 degrees. And tomorrow, Mike, for August the 1st, once again, an average day, 27, feeling about 30.
Can't believe it's August already. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Sure thing.
Well, here's a live look outside Union Station tonight, where in about 20 minutes, over 1,000 people are expected to board the underground Freedom Train to Shepherd West Station. It's all part of efforts to mark Emancipation Day. It recognizes the people who traveled the Underground Railroad to freedom in Canada. This is the 7th year in a row the train is running, and it will arrive just after 12 to mark the August 1st date of Emancipation Day in the British Empire. Mirvish theaters dimmed their marquee lights tonight to honor the passing of a Broadway legend. Harold Prince died at 91 today. The director and producer made his name on Broadway with shows like The Phantom of the Opera, but also several big live-ent productions in Toronto, such as Kiss of the Spider-Woman and Showboat. Surrender Lloyd Webber paying tribute to Prince today, saying, quote, "All of modern musical theater owes practically everything to him." Prince won 21 Tony Awards during his career. And Halton police are excited about some new technology they plan to use to crack down on distracted drivers. Side-mounted cameras on their cruisers aimed at catching drivers in the act. But as Ali Chiasson tells us, some privacy experts aren't on board with the plan.
They're positioned at roughly head height if you were standing there. There's no special enhancements in these cameras. They literally see what you would see with the naked eye. There's no infrared technology. There's no additional zoom. It's meant to provide the same view you would have as a human observer inside the police vehicle.
Even if you just turned your head?
That's exactly what it is. The way the system works is the officer on general patrol, if they witness an offense, they're able to activate the system to then capture that audio and video stream. The way the system works, it's always buffering a 30-second video only prior to the activation. So the example with the side camera would be an officer can be driving down a 2-lane road, for example, look out their side window, observe someone perhaps committing an offense of distracted driving, texting on their phone. What they can do then is pull in behind the vehicle to initiate a traffic stop, and the second they activate their lights, that's one of the things that activates the system. The system would come on, immediately begin recording audio and video moving forward, but it would also capture that previous 30 seconds where the officer made that initial observation.
You know, what we see from our window here, we're able to just capture that on our video recordings.
Yeah.
That is huge evidentiary value because quite often people will deny the fact that they were on their phone. Having that video information is that much more helpful to us because it's then disclosed in court to show this is what I saw and the video confirms these observations.
Because otherwise it's just the offender's word against yours sometimes?
Exactly, right? We have to prove beyond a doubt in court that what we saw, you know, to convince whether it be the judge or the justice of the peace that our observations are true.
We do not want to live in a surveillance state, and that's where this is taking us.
Right, so that is a common perception that does exist in the public mind. I can say that with our program, we have designed our retention periods based on the level of severity of the video. And so we retain video only to the extent that we need to, and then upon reaching the retention period, the video is deleted.
Naturally, they get a little nervous when they think about, you know, okay, more cameras on police cars. Is this just more surveillance?
Right. I think that what needs to be relayed to the public is that we're not operating the cameras all the time. It's not always recording. It's only being recorded for the purpose of actual evidence that's going to be collected. The purpose of this information collection is only for that and not to just run a constant stream of video.
A major grocery store chain works to cut down on single-use plastics. I'm Lorenda Redekop. Come January, when you're leaving a Sobeys store, the only options will be paper or reusable. The store is also trying to cut down on these plastic fruit and vegetable bags in favor of these reusable ones. So what's behind the shift and what could be next for grocery stores? I'll have that story coming up.
A public inquest is being called to examine the circumstances that led to the death of Sami Yatim. You'll recall police shot and killed the 18-year-old on board a TTC streetcar back in 2013. It sparked a national discussion about the use of force. The province says the inquest is mandatory under the Coroner's Act. A date has yet to be set. The past few months, a number of major companies have moved to get rid of everything from plastic straws to shampoo containers. Now, Sobeys is announcing it is getting rid of plastic shopping bags altogether. And as Lorenda Redekop tells us, the grocery chain has a plan to cut down on other plastics as well.
Plastic won't be an option soon when you leave a Sobeys store.
We're removing 225 million plastic bags from our Sobeys stores across the country.
Come January 31st, your only choice will be paper or a reusable bag. The chain says customers were demanding less plastic.
I think it's a little bit behind the times at this point, but so it's about time. But yeah, I think it's great.
I think in order to save our environment, we should be implementing it, given that this is a first world country. We should be a leader.
Sobeys is also trying to reduce the use of these plastic fruit and vegetable bags in favor of this reusable style.
So customers will have the choice to come in, purchase this bag, and then use it hundreds of times. It's made from recycled plastic water bottles. It's machine washable.
People can just this environmentalist sees getting rid of bags at the checkout as just step one.
I'm not sure how much of an impact they really will have. When you walk through the grocery store, you're going to still see aisles and aisles of packaged food and lots of plastics everywhere. So we really need to see the grocery stores taking steps to deal with packaging on their food all the way up the supply chain.
The federal government has said it will ban single-use plastics in 2021 at the earliest. Other grocery stores, including Loblaws, charge 5 cents for plastic bags. This retail expert believes other chains will now follow Sobeys' lead.
And this allows Sobeys to get out in front of the competition and sort of wear the good guy hat in terms of being the first one out to eliminate these bags.
And he believes with opinions shifting by consumers and investors, 10 years from now, companies will produce much less plastic. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
The Blue Jays sweep their series against the Kansas City Royals just as the front office sweeps out some big names from the bullpen. Details of the latest big names to be traded away when we come back.
The weather update is brought to you by Train Extreme Conditions Testing. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
Another good day for Canada's gymnasts at the Pan Am Games in Lima, Peru. Cambridge's Brooklyn Moores won gold in the floor exercises, while Ellie Black became Canada's most decorated Pan American gymnast with a silver in the beam event. That's her 5th medal of these games. The Blue Jays with an afternoon game to wrap up their series against the Royals. Let's pick it up in the 7th. Game tied. Freddie Galvis gives Toronto its first lead thanks to his 16th home run of the season. And then in the 8th, rookie Bo Bichette hit his first ever Major League home run. His family in Kansas City to celebrate and see it all happen. Toronto wins 4-1, sweeping the series just as front office completed its sweep of the clubhouse. Just before today's 4 p.m. trade deadline, the Jays shipped out another 2 of their few remaining ties to the last playoff run. Starter Aaron Sanchez here and reliever Joe Biagini were sent to the Houston Astros along with minor league outfielder Cal Stevenson. The Jays will get outfielder Derek Fisher in return. The Jays also traded reliever Daniel Hudson to the Nationals for right-hander Cal Johnson. He got the news during the afternoon game. And the Toronto Argos trading for a new quarterback tonight, or rather the return of one. Zach Collaros started his CFL career here 7 years ago. This season saw him with the Rough Riders, the Argos sending Saskatchewan a 4th-round pick for next year. Jeff Harrington's back with his extended forecast. I know it's just Wednesday night, but it's never too early to start talking about the long weekend.
No, not at all. And you know what, Mike? It looks pretty good at this point. Maybe we'll look for some showers to pivot in. We'll go through those details right now. Your precipitation outlook not showing up a whole lot over the next, here we are, Thursday morning. Not a cloud to be spotted. That continues through Thursday evening into Friday as well. We do have some cloud cover and systems to the north and south, but high pressure acting as a shield and deflecting all of that. I really don't think our next chance for rain may come on the holiday Monday. Just wanted to put that on your radar. We'll take you now to the afternoon on Monday towards southwestern Ontario, but this is still a few days out, so definitely check back with us and we'll see if that changes. Now, in terms of that humidex, Mike, we were talking about it earlier in the broadcast. Humidex levels have come down. Tomorrow we'll look for a humidex of 29 to 30, so no real discomfort. When you consider July 20th, our humidex was at 44. Tonight, we don't say this often, but below average temperatures for southwestern Ontario. Winds are 13. You should be closer to 17 to 18. 28 the high tomorrow. No real humidity here as well. And along the Golden Horseshoe, same story. Temperatures below average here. 14 for Toronto, 15 for St. Catharines. And for your Thursday, August the 1st, 27 degrees featuring wall-to-wall sunshine. So very similar to today, except less cloud cover. And we have a humidex on tap of about 30. So very comfortable. Here's your 5-day forecast right now. Humidex, there we go, 30 degrees. Friday, wall-to-wall sunshine once again, 28. And there we go for Caribbean Carnival. We're just going to dial up that humidity a bit, feeling about 34. Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud. And there we go, the holiday Monday, the civic holiday, Simcoe Day. At this point, Mike, putting it at about a 40% chance that we could see some showers toward the afternoon, evening. But again, still a few days out, so definitely check back with us. All in all, a pretty comfortable forecast. But if you are heading out to Caribana Carnival on Saturday, just keep that in mind that the humidity goes up a bit.
Looking great Saturday, and you're right. 5 days, lots can change for Monday. Thanks a lot.
Sure thing.
Good morning and welcome to News World Morning from Halifax.
I remember watching this. CBC News celebrating a birthday today. On this day in 1989, CBC launched Canada's first 24-hour news channel. Back then, of course, it was called News World. There were plenty of technical hiccups that first day, but the network's original producers and hosts pressed on, helping lay the foundation for what you now know as CBC News Network. Happy birthday to our colleagues. TIFF announced the Canadian films set to debut at this year's festival, 26 in total. Among them, a thriller about an Indigenous community that is immune to a zombie plague. Zombie fish. Blood Quantum from Micmac director and writer Jeff Barnaby features an entirely Indigenous cast. The film will make its world premiere in the festival's horror-filled Midnight Madness series. Almost half of the films this year are directed by women. That's up 40% from last year. Among them is Femichelis with American Woman, a fictionalized reimagining of the Patty Hearst affair. It follows a political activist as she helps take care of a group of America's most wanted fugitives, including a well-known, recently radicalized heiress. You can check out a list of all 26 films online. Just head to cbcnews.ca. That's our newscast for tonight. Thanks for watching. Dwight Drummond has your next local newscast tomorrow night at 6. I'll see you back here at 11. Good night.